Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pat's Pulpit pregame show. I am Rich Hill, and with me, as always, to talk about Week 12 of the NFL season is Alec Shane. Alec, it was Thanksgiving weekend. How are you doing?
I'm good, my man. Still a little stuffed, still coming out of my turkey coma, but that's what Thanksgiving's all about. How was your holiday?
It was good. It was good. I spent it in Rome. It was lovely. We did not find any place that served real Thanksgiving food, so I had pasta and meatballs and lasagna and fried calamari, and it was pretty good. I can't complain. It was if I couldn't have my stuffing and turkey and cranberry sauce, it was a good second place.
No, sure. I mean, I feel as long as you're eating way more than any human being should be eating and you feel miserable afterward, you celebrated the holiday in style no matter where it is. And actually, lasagna isn't totally off the wall for a Thanksgiving dinner meal. I know some people that actually do lasagna on Thanksgiving. So you were in the ballpark.
Oh, absolutely. Good. It was delicious. So I'll do it again sometime in the future. But I did miss all the games because I was overseas. I didn't get to see any of what happened. I know that there were three really good games that took place. The Lions beat the Vikings to solidify their grasp on first place in the NFC North. The Cowboys beat Washington 31-26. So I believe they're 10-1, which is very, very impressive. And then the Steelers just absolutely demolished the Indianapolis Colts 28-7. But I want to talk a little bit about the Lions because they interest me a lot. The Lions are 7-4 right now. They have trailed in every single fourth quarter this season. That's crazy. They have 7 wins. They're a coin flip away from having no wins on the year. They could be tied with the Cleveland Browns, but instead they're leading a very tough division. And honestly, I think that you can't ignore the first 55 minutes of football games, but 7 fourth quarter comebacks for Matthew Stafford has to put him in the MVP conversation, right?
Absolutely. And you really can't count this Lions team out. It's hard to catch Lions games if you're an AFC guy. You have to kind of actively pursue a Lions game. But every time I've seen them on, they look great on Thanksgiving. They're very up and down. They can score points at will. They're not really missing Calvin Johnson as much as I thought they would. They're missing him, obviously, but not as much as I thought they would. And if you can be down in every single fourth quarter and manufacture 7 wins on the arm of Matthew Stafford, it's not like they're running the ball so well that he can just hand it off to a running back the way the Cowboys can, for example. Stafford's just dominating. And I guess the big knock on Brady, not through his own fault, is that Brady's got 4 less games than Stafford does this year due to the Deflategate nonsense. So if you're looking at an entire body of work throughout the course of the season, I think Stafford's right up there, along with Matt Ryan, actually, and then Tom Brady, of course. Those are my 3 kind of early frontrunners for MVP.
Yeah, no, you got to tip your cap to Russell Wilson as well. He has been putting the team on his shoulder just because the offensive line is the worst in the league. I've never seen worse offensive line play than the Seahawks. They play later today, and of course, he has that head-to-head victory over Brady. So that kind of gives him an edge, I would see, in the voters, especially plus the additional 4 games. But talking about other MVP voters or MVP options, the Cowboys, they have Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott, the wonder duo, who are both rookies that are looking exceptional out there. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott leads the league in yards from scrimmage. Dak Prescott, rookie, I believe he ranks 4th in passer rating. That's very, very impressive. That's nothing to sneeze at. And so I think that they will probably siphon votes from one or the other. And I don't see any of them really getting there, despite the fact that the Cowboys have the top record in the league.
No, I agree with that. I think it's also the whole rookie of the year competition that takes away from the notion of Dak Prescott or Ezekiel Elliott as MVP. One of those 2 is getting rookie of the year. I'm probably going to lean towards Dak just because the quarterback position tends to default more to the awards, but you really can't knock what those guys have done. My question has been actually in the past is if for whatever reason a team sells out to stop the run and Ezekiel Elliott can't really get going, can Dak Prescott win a game on his own? And he more or less proved that against the Ravens a few weeks back when Ezekiel Elliott wasn't really doing much until probably late in the 3rd, early 4th, and Prescott still kept him in it. So he's a legit quarterback. He's a starter going forward. Tony Romo already pretty much ceded the job to him. Looking forward to seeing him on the Jets next year. You know that's going to happen. Jets or Broncos, Tony Romo. And you just got to just tip your cap. When a good player comes out, a good player comes out. And I think the NFC is Dallas is to lose right now.
Oh, absolutely. I think that they are a very, very complete team. I think most people can already pencil in the Seahawks and the Cowboys in the NFC Championship game because I don't really see another team in that conference putting up a good enough fight. So it's not over yet, clearly, but if I had to put my money down, it would be on those two teams. And then, of course, the Steelers, they beat the Colts 28-7. They are now back in first place in the AFC North at 6-5. The Colts are not very good. They continue just to flounder. I believe they are 5-6 right now. They are going to be in third place in the AFC South as the Titans are well on their way to beating the Chicago Bears today. My question to you is that Michael Lombardi, a former Patriots executive, last week said that he is more concerned about the AFC North for the Patriots than he is about the AFC West. And you have the Steelers and the Ravens. Which team would you rather see in the playoffs, knowing full well that they probably won't get a first-round bye? They'll get to take on one of those wild card teams first. Which team do you think you would rather have in the game?
Just based on historical evidence, how the teams have played in years past, I will always take Pittsburgh in the playoffs, be it in New England, be it in Pittsburgh. I just don't want any part of the Ravens. I'm still kind of shaken from last time these two teams played in 2014, even though the Patriots won. That came down literally to the last play of the game. In years prior to that, the Patriots lost to Baltimore in Foxborough. They are just not scared of New England, and no matter how crappy Joe Flacco plays in the regular season, he's having a very, very mediocre regular season right now. But if Baltimore can sneak into the playoffs, right now they are currently beating the Bengals by 16-9, I believe, as we record this. Totally new game, totally new season, and Flacco is very dangerous in the postseason. So I will take Pittsburgh. I'm rooting very hard for Pittsburgh to take the AFC North because I think only one team comes out of that division.
No, I agree. And I think that you look at the Ravens team and they have a very good defense. You can't undersell how good their defense is, and that can limit the Patriots offense. And then they have an offense. We all know the Joe Flacco ball where he just throws a jump ball deep down the field, hoping for a defensive pass interference that most likely will come. And I think that that is the type of explosive mistakes type of offense. Like they capitalize on it. And I think that that's not what the Patriots want to see because that's just high variation. I think that, as you said, the Steelers are a team that they can beat straight up. I think that the Ravens, some crazy voodoo will always happen. I don't want to see them there. I'd rather see the Steelers. Looking around the other games happening right now, the Atlanta Falcons are destroying the Cardinals 31-13. The Bills just took a 28-21 lead over the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is a game that the Patriots would want the Jaguars to pull the upset. The 49ers are losing to the Miami Dolphins 31-14. That is also a game that the Patriots want to see the 49ers win. I don't think that any game currently this week is falling the Patriots' way. Do you think that bodes well for this afternoon between the Patriots and the Jets, or do you think it's a sign that the Patriots are going to take care of business?
Well, on the plus side, these results you just rattled off are pretty much expected. I would have been amazed if the 49ers went into Miami, beat the Dolphins. They're just not a good team. They're 1-9, soon to be 1-10. It's 31-14. The same thing with the Bills and the Jaguars. The Jaguars aren't a very good team either. So everything that's kind of unfolding right now across the league is unfolding as it should. So in that respect, the Patriots, on paper at least, should always beat this Jets team. There's a better team overall. However, on the flip side, nothing is going New England's way in terms of how you want the chips to fall. So I think that's how you want to be a glass half full guy or a glass half empty kind of guy. And since this glass is half empty, I'm a little nervous. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this Patriots game, and I agree with you. I'm not feeling too hot about this one either. I think that the Patriots will lose one of their final 6 games. I don't know if it'll be this one, but if there is a game where all the signs are pointing the wrong direction, as you say, as you've always said, a roller coaster to worry about. The Jets are coming off a bye. The Patriots, I'm going to say that their injuries on offense are a little under-heralded right now. I don't think that there's going to be enough credit given despite the fact that they have all of their players. I don't think enough is talked about with the injuries and how that will limit them. And then their defense is in flux. I think that there is a lot of potential here for the Patriots to get cutesy and for the game to snowball out of control. Can you talk me out of that, or do you agree?
Can I talk you out of that? Well, here's something I'd like to think. I'd like to think that in my mind's eye, after a good week of practice, Bill Belichick sat down with the defense, with just him and the defense. No other coaches, no other assistants, just him and them. And he kind of laid it all out on the line, what he was expecting, why things aren't going the way they were going, why he got rid of Jamie Collins, why he got rid of Chandler Jones, what his philosophy was, and what he expected out of the men in that room at the time. And whatever he said in that locker room really galvanized that unit, and it got them going, it got them motivated, and they are now really chomping at the bit to get a turnover for the first time since 3 or 4 weeks ago. And they're looking to get after the quarterback. And if they can do that, I can definitely talk you out of it. However, if we see what we saw last week against San Francisco with a better quarterback, in my opinion, in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and much rangier, taller receivers in Brandon Marshall and Quincy Unwa, I don't know. It's at New York. The Jets are coming off a bye. They're not really going to go anywhere. The good news is I'll talk you out of this one. Okay, here we go. Tom Brady with a win today, number 200, tying Peyton Manning for most of all time. That's got to be a motivator. The Jets can be eliminated from division contention with a loss today. They have to know that as well. And 3, Patriots can get a legitimate stranglehold on the AFC East with a chance to lock it up, I believe, in 2 weeks if they win today. So those things all have to factor in the pregame motivation. And Brady's there, Gronk is there, Chris Hogan's there. Everybody who's supposed to be active is active. So the weapons are all on the field. It's all a matter of can they come out fired up. And that, I don't know.
Yeah, no, and let's go talk about the inactives right now because this is very, very important for the game. On offense, the Patriots will be without undrafted rookie running back DJ Foster. They will not have recent signing tight end Matt Lengel, the former Bengal. Matthew Slater, who's a primary special teams player, will also not be there, as well as Adrian Waddle, who's the 4th offensive tackle. No surprises there. I think Foster has been receiving a red shirt year. Lengel was only active because Gronkowski was not able to play, and Waddle has been inactive this entire season as Cameron Fleming has done a pretty good job as the number 3 offensive tackle. Looking at the defensive side, though, Woodrow Hamilton is inactive, which is a positive sign if you think about it, because that means that Alan Branch is not suspended and is available to play. Cyrus Jones, cornerback, 2nd-round pick, is inactive with an illness, so he was added on Friday, so this isn't really a surprise. But also, cornerback Justin Coleman is inactive. And so the Patriots have opted to make Coleman inactive, and that means that the Patriots are moving forward with just Malcolm Butler, Logan Ryan, Eric Rowe, and Jonathan Jones at cornerback. And this is against a New York Jets team big. They have a bunch of really tall wide receivers. Brandon Marshall is 6'4", 6'5". Quincy Enunwa is 6'2". I believe that Robbie Anderson is the rookie, is 6'4". They have a lot of really tall players there that are really involved targets, and they don't use their tight ends. They honestly have the worst tight end depth chart I've ever seen in NFL history, and they don't throw it to them. So that means that the Patriots safeties, unless you're really expecting the safeties to be covering the cornerbacks, I don't know what the Patriots are planning on doing to defend this Jets passing attack.
Yeah, neither do I, particularly because we haven't even mentioned Matt Forte yet, who's probably the one Jet who scares me the most today as a receiving back, as a running threat. New England is having a lot of trouble generating a pass rush. They got 5 sacks last week, but I think that was more just due to the horrible offensive line play of San Francisco than anything new or creative the Patriots did. And as we saw, even in San Francisco, a receiving back out of the backfield on that wheel route works every single time. They just can't cover it. They're not going to be able to cover it. And Matt Forte is a significantly better running back than Drones is or Carlos Hyde is. And so I expect with the combination of Fitzpatrick in the I'm good right now cycle, tall receivers, and a receiving nifty back in Matt Forte, unless New England comes out and that front 4 generates a lot of pressure and gets to Fitzpatrick early and allows him no time to throw, could be a long day for these New England defenders.
Yeah, I'm expecting a few hair-pulling moments out of this Patriots defense where there's just some breakdown down the field. I don't know. For whatever reason, I just imagine that that's going to take place. But I also look at how the Patriots have defended the Jets' offense in the past. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is known for having one of the quickest releases in the league. He's not necessarily the most accurate. He doesn't always make the best decision, but he gets rid of the ball quickly. And so you have this Patriots defensive front with Alan Branch. Jabal Sheard will also be available. And I'm really hoping that the Patriots have been able to work out whatever the problem was with Jabal Sheard, and they can use him with Chris Long, with Trey Flowers, with Rob Ninkovich, with blitzes up the middle with Donta Hightower or Kyle Van Noy. I think that the Patriots need to do something to disrupt those quick passes for Ryan Fitzpatrick. They need to take those away, and they need these players to get home, because they need to force Ryan Fitzpatrick to throw a turnover because he's a very streaky player. And as soon as he gets one turnover, 5 or 6 more are coming down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your strategy here, Rich? If you're a defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, how are you dialing up your defense? You going with that 5-1 front again like we've seen in the weeks past, or are you trying something new today?
Well, I would go with the 5-1, but I think that there are a few matchups that I would want to prioritize. And first of all, as you said, Matt Forte, very, very good player. He's turning 31 in 2 weeks. He is on pace for over 1,200 yards this year. He has been a really great asset for the Jets. He was this close to signing with the Patriots this past offseason. So Patriots are going to get a taste of what they're missing out on. But I think we've seen in recent weeks, I mean, as you said, we've watched Landon Roberts get torched. We've seen Barkevious Mingo and Shea McClellan and Donta Hightower. We've seen all of the linebackers get themselves into trouble in coverage of these running backs. And it happens time after time after time where you see the play developing and saying, oh, well, this is going to be a wheel route to this player because there's no way the linebacker is going to get there in time. And I'm saying, all right, the Jets do not have a viable tight end in that offense. I'm not worried about any of their tight ends producing. So as a result, I'm going to put Patrick Chung on Matt Forte. That's a matchup that I like. I think that Forte and Chung, I like Chung's ability to wrap up in the open field. I like Chung's ability to stick with the running back far better than any linebacker can. And I think that if the Patriots can say, all right, Patrick Chung, whatever happens, you're just sticking to Matt Forte like glue, that allows the rest of the Patriots defense to settle down and say, okay, who else are we having to watch out for? There's Brandon Marshall. There's Quincy Enunwa. Robbie Anderson's a rookie. I think that you say the Patriots will put Logan Ryan on Quincy Enunwa because he's the more physical one. I think, actually, to be fair, they used him on Brandon Marshall last year. So this is kind of a matchup game where I think the Patriots could flip-flop from time to time. But if I were the Patriots, I would want to get rid of the physical Enunwa with the more physical Logan Ryan. And then I would say, Malcolm Butler, you're a number one guy. We need you to shut down their number one guy. I think this is a time where he has to elevate his play and really solidify his space as one of the top cornerbacks in the league, and he'll have a big stage to do it. And then you can say, all right, Eric Rowe, you get Robbie Anderson. You're the new guy. He's a rookie. That's a matchup that I'm willing to take. And then say, you all play really, really tight with these guys. And we're going to have Jerron Harmon and Devin McCourty over the top to make sure that nothing happens that way. But we want you to take it away and force Ryan Fitzpatrick to hold the ball, get a little antsy, and hope that the pressure gets home.
Rich, do you see the Patriots dialing up any blitzes this week? You saw a couple blitzes last week. You saw Malcolm Butler running off the edge, Pat Chung running off the edge, Donta Hightower through the middle a couple times. You don't see a lot of blitzing out of the Patriots this year as they try to contain the quarterback, that bend but don't break mentality that we all hate so much. Changed a little bit, again, for San Francisco against a more mobile quarterback in Colin Kaepernick. So do you see more blitzes to try and, as you said, get Fitzpatrick kind of streaking, throw an interception early, and then get him off his game?
Well, I think that if the Patriots do generate pressure, it will have to come up the middle with Donta Hightower because I've talked about my Tom Brady scramble theory before. And what that means is that is this quarterback more likely to scramble than Tom Brady? If yes, the Patriots won't rush after them. I think that Fitzpatrick is a guy who is very capable of scrambling. He can pick up 30, 40 chunk yards. He's like Alex Smith in the open field. And that's someone that you have to realize he can produce. He can run the ball. And so I think that the Patriots will say, we're going to do our best job to make sure that Ryan Fitzpatrick does not leave the pocket because that creates scramble plays, and I take a 6'5" wide receiver over 5'9" Patriots cornerback every single day of the week. And so the Patriots defensive ends need to do a really good job of squeezing the pocket, and then the Patriots linebackers need to be smart and intentional with blitzing up the middle. And I think that Donta Hightower is going to have a very, very good game if they're going to stop this Jets offense.
Now, the question is, can they stop this Jets offense? I know we're kind of talking down on the defense right now, and the Jets aren't good, Rich. They're not a good team. They're coming off a bye. The last time we saw them on the field, they lost to the Rams 9-6. They put up 6 points to the Rams, who are currently beating or losing to the Saints by about 11 billion points. So that defense isn't good. Jets couldn't score on them. Are you sitting here saying that the Patriots are going to give up more points than the St. Louis Rams did to this Jets offense?
No, I'm not too worried about that, despite the fact that, I mean, they had Bryce Petty going out there against the Rams, and Ryan Fitzpatrick is a much better quarterback than Bryce Petty, even in his worst times. And I think that the Jets just don't have a good quarterback, but they do have a lot of really good skill players. And that's something that has to be respected. And I think that more than anything makes it dangerous because the Patriots can't afford to get into the mentality that they typically show against teams with lesser quarterbacks. And you see this whether it's a mobile quarterback or it's a guy like Landry Jones. You have the Patriots defense say, we're going to drop back. We're going to force them to try and stitch together 12, 13, 14 play drives. If they take field goals, so be it. But we're not going to let them into the end zone. And I think that when you have skill players like the Jets have, once you get them closer to the red zone, they are a serious threat to put up touchdowns. So I think that the Patriots can't slip into that mentality of we're gonna let them make their own mistakes. I think that the Patriots need to force the Jets to turn the ball over on their own.
Yeah, turnovers definitely is the name of the game. Again, like I said earlier, they've gone 3 straight games without forcing one. I don't know the last time they went 4 straight games. It's been a long time. And those bend but don't break offenses of the past, defense, excuse me, not only have they not worked in the really big games, but those defenses thrived off turnovers. Those defenses weren't great, but they found ways to get the ball back. And this defense isn't doing that. So I agree with you. They're going to sit back and allow Fitzpatrick to pick them apart under the middle. It's going to be a long day because of the fact not only does Matt Forte poised to have a big game, but Bilal Powell, I think, is one of the better, more underrated runners in the league. He's just a bowling ball. And the combination of Forte and Bilal Powell could spell trouble for the Patriots. I'm glad Alan Branch is in there, at least for this week. We'll see how the appeal goes. But overall, again, I think that's a matchup that should be interesting, to say the least. The good news, however, is that I think the Patriots offense with Gronk, with Hogan, Edelman, Amendola, Dion Lewis, and James White, both active, that creates a lot of matchup problems for the New York Jets. The real question is, can the offensive line give Tom Brady the time he needs to get those releases out? I think they can due to the talent on the field right now. Rich, how do you feel overall about this Patriots offense versus Jets defense?
Well, I think that the Patriots, as I was saying earlier, you have to watch out for the injuries. Tom Brady is dealing with a knee problem. Rob Gronkowski is dealing with a chest problem. Julian Edelman has a foot problem. Chris Hogan has a back problem. Martellus Bennett has an ankle problem. Dion Lewis is in his second game back from having an ACL surgery. There is not a very healthy offense out there for the Patriots, despite the fact that this is their first time having all of their players out there. And I think that as time goes forward and these players heal, I think that they will get better. But an important caveat to mention when we're talking about how we think this Patriots offense will perform today. That said, it's going to be fine. You look at this Jets defense. I mean, hands down, they have one of the top 2-3 defensive lines in the entire NFL. Leonard Williams is incredible in his second year. He was the 6th overall pick last year. They have Sheldon Richardson, who was the 13th overall pick in 2013. And they have Muhammad Wilkerson, who was also a first-round pick in 2011, and he is the 3rd highest paid defensive player in the NFL. So you have these 3 players that can line up anywhere. They're all 6'2 to 6'5. They're all around 300 to 320 pounds. They can play inside. They can play outside. They can play defensive end in the 4-3 in the same position that Jabal Sheard and Rob Ninkovich play. I mean, they're very, very versatile. And it allows the Jets defense to be pretty funky with their matchups because they say, all right, we have these 3 guys. We don't have to worry about this opposing team running the ball because we trust these guys to stop the run. And so I think that opportunity to drop a lot of players back into coverage, but the Patriots also have to recognize that this Jets pass defense is terrible. They're bottom 5, bottom 10 in most metrics. And I think that if I'm the Patriots, I'm not going to waste my time running LeGarrette Blount up the middle, but instead I'm going to say, hey, James White, Dion Lewis, we're going to throw you quick passes out into the flat, and we're going to have you make people miss.
Now, are you concerned at all, Rich? There was some talk this week among various media pundits and whatnot about Darrelle Revis and how he parted the Patriots. The way he was as he left, he made some Deflategate comments. He kind of backtracked on it and was complimenting Brady. And then there's apparently no love lost between Brady and Revis and the Patriots. I don't know what's true, what's not. Don't really care, to be honest with you. However, I have seen Jets games in the past where Brady, for whatever reason, decides that he's going to put one over on Darrelle Revis. And maybe he'll make some throws he probably shouldn't make. Revis pulls in a pick. Revis gets in Brady's head. He tries to redeem himself, throwing Revis again. Revis picks it off again. You've seen this cycle perpetuate itself in the past against Darrelle Revis, who's having a very down year. No picks. He's just letting age catch up to him. He's kind of mailed it in. I can see him getting up for this game and maybe registering his first interception of 2016 against Tom Brady, especially if Brady decides to force a few in there. Am I nuts in thinking this?
No, I think that this is something that's going to happen. We've seen it happen, or maybe not the interceptions, but I do think we'll see Tom Brady going after Darrelle Revis. This is something that Brady has done time and time again when some player on the opposing team has talked a little bit of smack in his direction. We all remember, actually, I don't remember the guy's name, but he was the safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it was Anthony Smith back in 2011, I want to say. Or actually, no, that was the 2007 season. 07, and Anthony Smith was talking about, we're going to go out there, we're going to beat them, and they're nothing too special. And Brady just went after him, went over the top of the defense and just dropped it to Randy Moss, and they couldn't do anything to stop him. And so I think that we could see that happen. I think Brady kind of alluded to it a little bit in his press conference where he didn't really hide it. He said, yeah, well, we've seen teams beat Revis over the top a few times this year, and he listed all the teams that did it. And I don't think that he was trying to be mean when he was doing it, but he definitely recognized that Revis can't keep up. So if I'm the Patriots and I have Chris Hogan against Darrelle Revis in a matchup, I'm expecting Chris Hogan to go out and burn him.
Now, Rich, if you're the defensive coordinator of the Jets, Chan Gailey, how do you come in and how do you manipulate your defense to compensate for that lack of a strong secondary? There's teams out there that have a good secondary and they can compensate for that with their weak pass rush. But as you mentioned earlier in the preview, that the defensive line, that is really where the Jets thrive. They're going to make all their money going in there, getting after Brady early, rushing 4, maybe even rushing 3 at times. And if they can do that and Brady has confusion over the middle and he can't get that quick release, that could be a long day for the Patriots. The problem I see, if I'm with Chan Gailey for the Jets, is that how do you cover Dion Lewis? How do you cover James White? The coverage linebackers for the Jets are non-existent. The secondary, as you mentioned, isn't that good. And if you dedicate a cornerback to a running back, you've got receivers that can go crazy over the middle. And you still got Gronkowski and Bennett who are in there. That's a huge 2 matchup problems, injured or not. So how do you kind of neutralize these quick outs, these receiving backs, and these big tight ends?
Well, I don't think you can. I mean, honestly, you just have to pray that the Patriots make some mistakes because you look at the teams that the Jets have played already this year. You have Rob Gronkowski and Martellus Bennett. As you said, those are 2 very, very good tight ends. The only 2 good tight ends that the Jets have seen this year are the Seahawks' Jimmy Graham and the Chiefs' Travis Kelce. And that was back-to-back weeks. I believe it was week 3, week 4. And Jimmy Graham put up over 100 yards, and Kelce put up almost 90 yards and a touchdown. And I think that you see the Patriots saying, all right, well, we got that matchup. We are very, very happy with whatever happens there. Those are something that you can take away on a snap-to-snap basis. And then you say, where else can we take advantage? And we said, Darrelle Revis can't cover the deep pass anymore. So there's your Chris Hogan matchup. And then I take Julian Edelman against Buster Screen any single day in the slot. And so I think that spots for spot, man for man, the Patriots skill player is far better than their Jets counterpart at every single position, other than the offensive line versus the defensive line. And for that reason, the Patriots are going to say, all right, well, we're going to just throw the quick passes. And so I think that the Jets have to hope that Tom Brady gets in his own head. You have to hope that the coverage plays the game of their life, but you also have to hope that Sheldon Richardson, Muhammad Wilkerson, Leonard Williams are able to do enough damage up the middle that they can disrupt the passing attack before anything gets to develop. Because, as we were saying, Chris Hogan deep is something that is available if it's there. Rob Gronkowski, Martellus Bennett, that is also available, but all of those require the play to develop. And that means that the Patriots offensive line needs to do their job against this Jets defensive line, and that's a big order. So if I'm the New York Jets, you need that defensive line to win you this game.
Along those lines, Rich, do you see the Patriots even bothering to try and establish the run today? LeGarrette Blount, you mentioned him not really beneficial to just jam him up the middle to go early. Do you see them more or less not abandoning LeGarrette Blount, but going not a lot to him at all and just saying, screw this, we're just going to pass it the whole day, and it's Big J for James White, Dion Lewis instead?
No, I could see them actually just straight up abandoning it. We look at how the Patriots have used the running backs in the past 2 years against the Jets. Talking 2014, 2015, you have Shane Vereen, James White, Brandon Bolden. Then you also have LeGarrette Blount and Jonas Gray. But you see how the Patriots have used their matchups. They have used their receiving types backs. So we're talking to James White, talking to Shane Vereen on 80% of the running back snaps. And so LeGarrette Blount is a player who normally sees 55, 60% of the snaps. And I'm expecting his opportunities to drop down to 20%. And that's based on the Patriots possibly having lead in the fourth quarter or having some goal line stands. And for the rest of the time, I honestly expect the Patriots to say, Dion Lewis, James White, we're going to ask you guys to go toe for toe. We're going to ask you to carry this entire running back grouping. And I think that those are the guys that are just going to lead the way, and Blunt's just going to sit on the sideline.
So who would you call your offensive X factor today?
Well, my offensive X factor is going to be David Andrews. I think that he has been playing well in recent weeks, but his role is primarily as a support guy in some of these blocking schemes. And you have how the Jets play with a four-man line with three of those defensive tackles that I listed, plus a fourth player, whether that's a nose tackle or an actual pass rusher. And so I think that the Patriots have to say, I trust Marcus Cannon and Nate Solder to be able to do their job against these bigger defensive tackle type players. And then you have rookie Joe Thuney, and then you have sophomore Shaq Mason. Neither of those guys are very experienced when it comes to pass protection. And Joe Thuney has been excellent, don't get me wrong, but he's still a rookie. And then Shaq Mason is honestly the weak link in the passing game, as far as I'm concerned. And so David Andrews is the guy in the middle of those two. He is going to have to pick the right player to support on a snap-to-snap basis while remaining aware that a blitz could possibly occur up the middle. And so David Andrews, whether he has a one-on-one against a nose tackle, which he has not been good at handling this year, but he has to do that in addition to watching out and making sure that his guards are able and capable of stopping whoever is lined up against them.
No, I like that. So I was actually going to have Nate Solder as my offensive X factor, but since you picked an offensive lineman already, I'll vary it up a little bit. I think Solder does need a bounce back game. Did not play well last week against the Niners. He had a holding call, which is called that Blunt touchdown back, another holding call, the short circuit to drive. So hopefully he can get off the schneid a bit. He's had a pretty good season overall, but not a great game for Solder last week. But going off of that, I'll go with Martellus Bennett as my offensive X factor. Maybe not as a receiving tight end, but as a blocking tight end. They might need him to stay at home a little bit if Brady diagnoses a blitz package. He's a very good blocking tight end. Doesn't get a lot of credit for that. And if Gronkowski can't go, especially if he's limited because of that chest injury, we'll need a big day from Bennett. There was talk about the idiots all with their gums flapping about how Bennett's mailing it in. He doesn't look like he's trying. He's just, because we're Patriots fans, so we take wins and we find ways to bring the wins down. It's kind of how we do it. But I think he's going to be a big factor today if Gronkowski can't go as much in the passing game. But if Gronk can go, I think moving him around the line, adding an extra blocker on the edge is going to have a big impact on the offense.
I like that. I think that is very important because the Patriots can't afford to keep too many players in to block, but they do have that advantage if they want to say, all right, well, if the Jets are only going to play three defensive tackle type players, we're going to bring Gronkowski and Bennett into the offensive line and see if Dion Lewis can generate anything as a runner. And I actually think that that's a good matchup for the Patriots. And so I like that one. Going to the other side of the ball, who is your Patriots defensive X factor?
Yeah, it's a good question. I have a feeling I know who you're going to pick, so I'm going to allow you to pick with that man. If I'm wrong, I'll let you know. But defensively, it's tough because you got so many kind of just matchups along the line. I'm going to have to go with Logan Ryan today. Logan Ryan's going to have to really shut down Keita Unwa. I agree with your matchup. I think Malcolm Butler on Brandon Marshall with maybe some help over the top of McCourty. But I think that Logan Ryan's going to have his hands full with a big receiver. And if he can win the early battles, jam him at the line and disrupt the routes, get in Unwa's head a little bit, I think that could go a long way.
No, absolutely. I think that's a really important matchup that you have to watch out for. I'm debating between two, but I'm pretty sure one of them is what you're thinking of. It was either going to be Trey Flowers or Patrick Chung, but it's going to be Patrick Chung for me. Was that who you were thinking I was going to say?
Yeah, it was, yes.
Yeah, so Patrick Chung is going to be a cornerstone of this Patriots defensive plan. For me, if he's matched up with Matt Forte, that's great. If not, I kind of think that his skills are being kind of diminished and not utilized correctly, especially because the Jets don't have a good receiving tight end to worry about. And I think that the Patriots, in all honesty, would be better off with Deron Harmon and Devin McCourty out there at safety if they're not going to use Patrick Chung to cover the running back, because having Patrick Chung in coverage as a deep safety is just asking for trouble, and Deron Harmon and Devin McCourty have proven that they can do that at a high level. So I think that however the Patriots deploy Patrick Chung will be very, very important. A really big possibility that they might misuse his skill set against the Jets. But I'm hoping that they don't. I'm hoping that they have realized that none of their linebackers can cover any running back out of the backfield. Never mind Matt Forte, who's been honestly one of the top 2-3 most productive running backs of the past 10 years. So I think that the Patriots need to use Patrick Chung in the right way. But before we go on to game predictions, Alec, do you have any final thoughts about this game?
I don't know, man. There's something about this game which is not really sitting right with me. I'll get to my prediction in a minute. It's just one of those things. Maybe because it's the Jets. The Jets always play the Patriots tough. There's a lot of things working against New England in this game, and they are going to lose another game at least before the season's out. They just are not a huge, tough slate of games coming out. They've got the Rams next week. There's the Broncos, the Ravens, and then the Dolphins again. But so they're going to lose again, in my opinion. And it's the AFC's game. It's Jets week. It's the Jets game. It's in New York. Jets coming off a bye. There's a lot of reasons to feel a little shaky about this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so let's move on to the game projections. Alec, who gets to go first?
All right, let's see. So last week, I had the Patriots winning 38-16. You had the Patriots winning 35-17. The final score was 30-17. So I think you get the nod at this one, Rich, because you got one of the scores exactly right. So I think I'm not sure exactly what we're at on the season, but it's close. It's a head-to-head matchup right now. So you get the honor of the first pick. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're heading to the final stretch of the season. The Patriots are 9-point favorites on the road against the New York Jets. That seems very, very high to me. I don't see the Patriots winning by 9 points. I would love to be proved wrong here, but I don't see that happening. I think that this is not necessarily a trap game in the sense that the Patriots are going to lose this game, but I think that, as always, this is going to be a very close game. Well, I think the stat was 7 out of the past 8 games between the Patriots and the Jets have been a single score difference, and 3 of them have gone into overtime. So if I'm the Patriots, I think that they are still going to win. I don't think they win by 9 points. I think that this is going to be a reasonably well-scoring game. I honestly think that the Patriots are going to have some trouble because of all of the injuries. But I think that at the end of the day, the Patriots are going to win, and it's going to be a 27-20 game.
27-20 Patriots. All right. Yeah, I mentioned in a past podcast or past pregame preview how terrified I was to find ourselves in a scenario where the Patriots are in this lock-em-up, gritty, kind of dirty game where they're not playing that well and the other team's just kind of hanging around, and maybe they're down 2 points with a minute and a half left, and this might be the game where this happens. I can just see a scenario this week where it's just a slow, grind-them-out, ugly game where the Jets are winning, say, 24-22, and the Patriots have the ball last, and they drive down to the 32, 33-yard line, and it comes down to a Gronkowski field goal to win it. I'm going to say he makes it today, and the Patriots win 26-24. That's my prediction, 26-24 Patriots. However, it could very well be 24-23 Jets because he shanks it wide left, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. But I'm going optimistic today. This glass is half full as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, well, I'm going to let you have it if it goes either way. If it comes down to a last-second field goal, whatever the score is, I'm going to let you take the win this week.
Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely. So, Alec, you enjoy the game. The kickoff is in less than a half an hour. I think everyone is rooting for the Patriots right now. And so, Alec, you have a good one.
You too, buddy.